Welcome to ProjectME the Podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multi-millionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME the Podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. You are listening to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast. First, I want to give a special thank you to you guys who have left a written review in iTunes for the show. Number one, it just touches my heart and it further motivates me and makes me so happy that you guys feel what you're learning here, what you're hearing here, is impacting your life and your business in different ways. It's so awesome to read. Plus, the more reviews, the more exposure your podcast gets. Therefore, more people can find it. So it helps keep this show going in terms of, putting on the production of the show. It actually costs money to do it at a high level. So I really appreciate it. And of course, a shout out to all the ProjectME podcast subscribers as well. Thank you. And this is episode 32, 4 Facebook advertising secrets that generate sales and highly targeted leads. I get a lot of questions about Facebook ads. So for those of you who may or may not know, I am an expert in Facebook advertising. I have spent close to $1 million in Facebook ads working with dozens of companies on hundreds of different ad campaigns in a variety of specialties, companies ranging from Fortune 100, Fortune 500, startup, single entrepreneur brands all over the map. And I have been working with Facebook ads since they started. So that's been quite a long time. And things have changed drastically since then, just like any other, platform in the digital world, right? I mean, 1 year is really like 10 years in real life. It's crazy. But I do truly get how overwhelming even the thought of doing Facebook ads can be for people, even people who are, high level, VPs of marketing or people who actually are really tech savvy. It's just a highly complex platform. There's a lot of nuances. It is not straightforward. It is something that's easily digestible, so to speak, for me, but that's because I started from the beginning, right? It's like anything. If you've been, skiing or snowboarding since you were a kid or a teen, it's really not a big deal later in life. But if you go to try to get on a snowboard and you're 35, yep, not pretty, I can tell you. So it's just a matter of that I started this right from the inception when Facebook had to actually teach people, even people who were, writing code, so to speak, on all levels of expertise. They had to teach you and introduce you to the whole world of social media advertising. So I got to learn from the ground up, so to speak. But I really do get how overwhelming it is. Sometimes when they make big changes, like recently with all the privacy stuff that went on, there's huge changes that have gone on and are still going on in Facebook. They've taken away a lot of things. They've added some things. It stresses me and my team out too. It's like, oh my God. Now when we got it, just when we feel like we've mastered it and we have a lot of proven ads, proven templates, proven strategies. Now all the dice have been thrown up in the air again. And it's just part of working in this digital age. So let me get to the 4 Facebook advertising secrets that I know through many, many years of trial and error, big wins, big fails on what generates sales and highly targeted leads. So my first secret is actually a don't. Don't get consumed in over-educating yourself on how to do Facebook ads. What's the best Facebook ad? What should I do for my image? What shouldn't I do? How much money? Who should I target? I could go on and on and on and on and on. Now, here I'm saying this, right? And you're listening to a podcast episode that's educational based on Facebook ads. But what I mean is it's okay if you get a good overview or you take a course that is from someone who is obviously very experienced in that field, who you resonate with, who you can understand, who has a way of taking complex things and making them easy. But I wouldn't sign up for like 6 different courses and listen to 85 podcasts and 100 YouTube videos. It's information overload. And it's easy to get stuck in the vortex of doing that when we are a little intimidated by something or it's out of our comfort zone. And because there are so many people that do, talk about things with Facebook ads, you can find a million different opinions. You can see a lot of tutorials, and it can just be too much. And the analogy I like to give is, number one, okay, it's better to learn by doing it. This is just one of those scenarios. You're not going to be able to prepare yourself enough to not have any fails in the social media advertising world. In fact, in advertising in general, except when you have a fail or that's not really good or we missed the mark in Facebook advertising, it's not costing you much money. You have oh shit, we failed or we missed the mark in print advertising, TV advertising, radio and satellite radio advertising. That fail is going to cost you a lot more money. So I get there's real money on the line, which is what causes people to have that anxiety and get stuck in that like analysis paralysis thing. But the best way to learn Facebook ads is by doing. So back to my analogy it's like the stock market. You want to make investments in stocks and you want to get in that game, you could go and read tons of books. You could attend seminars. You could buy courses. You could subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. I could go on and on and on. But really, the only way you're truly going to learn is by getting your feet wet and learning and making good decisions, bad decisions, taking risks. That's really the only way to learn. That might not be what you want to hear, but it's just what it was and what it is. I mean, let's think about that, right? If there was a guarantee with advertising, any kind of advertising, you spend $30 and you are going to make $60. If that was the case, there would not be a business on the planet or a venture capital firm on the planet that wouldn't send an insane influx of cash on advertising. Now, most major companies have budgets even where 50% of their operating costs are advertising, i.e. brands like, big brands like Nike, for example, or products like Coca-Cola or whatever. They're spending a crap ton because it works, right? And really, the more money you invest in advertising, as long as it is done in an educated and strategic manner, the more you invest, the more you can make, just like my stock market analogy, right? So you're only going to make so much in the stock market if you're buying, penny stocks, or you're buying, 10 shares here and there. You start buying 100 shares here and there, thousands of shares here and there. Well, your upside is much bigger, right? So what are you going to do? Play the penny or quarter slots in Vegas? Or are you going to play the $1 or $10 slots? I mean, that's really, truly more of a gamble, but you get my point. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Image is everything. It is, whether you like it or not. It is. And you could say, well, how could it be just like everything? Well, it is everything. It's everything because most people are lazy. Even people like myself who love to read, I have too many things to read on a daily basis. So whether I'm flipping through a magazine, I'm watching TV, or I'm scrolling through social media, I will see the picture and I likely won't read any text unless there's just a couple words to read and the picture grabbed my attention enough to read it. But a lot of people actually, believe it or not, don't really even like to read. They like pictures, right? Remember when you're a kid, there's those like children's books, the picture books where there's like one word on a page or like one short sentence. You need to look at that as that's what you need to do for social media advertising. Think of it that way. And if you don't remember, go and grab one of your, children's books that you have from your kids, or go hit up a Barnes and Noble and go to the children's section and you'll go, oh, it's the vivid pictures, very few words, and the words that are on there are in like a bold font. I always tell people to go look at that. But image is everything. So I'm going to just tell you really quick what for sure does not work. Lame stock photos. I know it's hard because you want a professional photo. Maybe you have you don't have a big budget, so you want to use a free stock image. But you know what? Since so many people use them, unless you're going with a unique free stock image service that has just thousands and thousands of photos, you will end up using a photo that other people have used, and therefore it's not going to mean anything when someone sees it. So I'm okay with free images. Just go with either a service where there's a trial, where actually it's a paid service. So maybe you get a 30-day trial, you get 5 images for free or something like that. You can always cancel. Go with that and grab the images off a paid service, because there's going to be a lot less people who use it because it's paid. Or if you really are just stuck and you're just having to use one of the basic free image services, whatever you're searching for, let's say it's, a woman with a cup of coffee or something like that, don't go for the first 200 images. Keep scrolling down, because most people won't take the time or effort to keep scrolling past those like first 150, 200 images, and then you'll get one that's not used as much. So make sure you're careful with that. Cartoons really don't work. And what I mean by cartoons is, cartoons, like an illustration, unless it's something incredibly provocative and extremely well done, and it's obviously that would have to be aligned with your brand, they just don't work. People are on social platforms to see people. And yes, we do see that there's a lot of quotes and stuff like that. That's within people's feeds, and people follow those people. So that's okay. But for advertising, they want to see real things. They want to see scenery. They want to see real life stuff, not a drawing of real life stuff. Okay. So no cartoons. And then the other thing with that is, you're limited in Facebook ads of how much like text overlay or text in general you can have in the image. So some people get, which I understand, want to get the most for their money and say the most to their potential customer, right? So they're like, well, I can put, all this stuff in ad copy, and then I can create a graphic, and I can put, a whole bunch of stuff on the graphic, like 50% off now and da-da-da-da-da. Well, number one, Facebook will likely reject that because it doesn't work. And they actually want your ad to work, because if it works, you spend more money. So Facebook is totally on your side. So they'll reject that. It has to pass the muster. Usually it is 25% of an image maximum can be text. So that's a good rule of thumb. And that won't be some long approval process. When you submit it and there's too much text, their automated systems are set up. It'll reject it right away. So you'll know. But you don't really want a lot of text anyway, right? And if you're doing text, do an overlay meaning put the text on top of or below the picture of the human beings or the scenery or the woman wearing the jewelry or the tank top you're selling. Okay. And it needs to be literally like the fewest freaking words possible. Like, huge 5th anniversary sale, ! Done. That's it. Okay. It just doesn't work. And like I said, Facebook wants it to work. They actually are on your side. They want it to work because it works. You're happy. You spend more money. And then you also will tell other business colleagues of yours or other people in your company or your boss. They'll see the results that it worked and you'll get approval for a higher budget. Or now your friend who wasn't going to use Facebook advertising, who was using print advertising for their boutique or whatever, is like, oh my God, I'm going to do it. So remember that. Number 3, start with $15 a day. I know. I can envision you guys, whether you're like driving, walking, sitting at your desk or something, when you just heard that just took away a lot of stress probably, because most people get stressed out of what budget should I do? I have no idea. Well, I'll make it simple for you. $15 a day. And I do this even with my clients who are multiple billion-dollar companies, unless we've done ads for them before. But if it's a new campaign or it is or Facebook ads or social media ads in general are new to them, we'll start with $15 a day, even if that ends up only being for a day or two, so that we can test the ad and how it's doing. But when you're when you're talking bigger brands, you usually need to put in a lot more money to test it. But I still like doing a day at $15. And so $15 a day, 5 or 10. I know there's some people who say that it's just not enough money to get you the numbers where you can make a true educated guess. It is a numbers game. So you need to be paying for enough numbers to where you can make the best educated guess. End of story. $15 a day. Number 4 is make sure you have a call to action on your damn ad. I can't tell you how many people end up reaching out to me, on Instagram or Facebook to hire me to help them with their Facebook ads, or they have an ad running, or they just ran a campaign and they had no conversions, very few leads, not much going on. They can't figure out what they did wrong. And number 1, I'm happy to help, and I'm very happy to be paid to help you. But I can save you some time in that if you don't have a call to action at all, if you don't tell people what you want them to do, they for sure won't do it. Okay? It's kind of like a relationship. Your husband, your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. If you assume or you telepathically think they are going to take out the trash every time that it's full, they may not, but you're leaving a lot open to chance that they will. You will drastically increase your chances that your dude's going to take out the trash when it's full when you clearly ask him to. And you increase the chances even more if you clearly ask him to and tell him when to do it and tell him in a nice way. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have to do the same when it comes to advertising, especially social media advertising. Okay. And again, you can go, well, I've seen ads for, Adidas and It's just a hot girl wearing the Adidas track pants and shoes, and they're not telling you to do anything. Okay, well, last time I checked, you're not a multiple billion-dollar brand, okay, that is extremely well known, and you see those striped track pants everyone knows is Adidas. That would be called an impression ad campaign, and that's something totally different. And I guarantee all of you who are listening are not looking for that. So make sure there's a clear call to action. You want them to buy now. They need to sign up now. They need to register now. They need to learn this thing. They need to download this app. Whatever it is, make the call to action very clear and only have one. I know you're spending money, so you want to go, but I want them to do like 3 things. I want them to download the app. I want them to give the app a ranking in the App Store, and I want them to share it with their friends. Oh my God, that's nice, but then they're not going to do any of it. That's too much. I'll go back to the analogy with your partner. You ask them to, let's say you ask ideally, honey, the trash is full. I need you to take out the trash now, please. Okay? That's okay, done. Take out the trash. Unless the person's an asshole, and then they don't. And that's a whole nother episode. Okay, so how about if you go, even if you say it nicely, honey, I need you to take out the trash now, reorganize the garage, get the laundry out of the dryer, please. I'm telling you right now, probably none of it will happen because you just overwhelmed the person, or it was just information overload and they checked out, or they maybe will only do one of the 3 anyway. So only give one call to action, and it needs to be clear and not convoluted at all. Meaning don't try to, in a clever way, weave in a few more things in there. It just doesn't work. And like I said, spent almost $1 million in Facebook advertising since the inception with dozens of companies. So I can tell you what works and what doesn't work. Of course, there's new features and new things all the time, and I will do updated episodes to keep you guys aware of the latest stuff. But most importantly, and most people truly want and need the fundamentals, and then we can go from there. So I hope you guys found that valuable. Any social media ad questions that you have, come hit me up on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany, or on Facebook at ProjectME with Tiffany, and send a direct message, put it in comments, and my team always makes sure that those are flagged so I can answer your questions. And if you need help with your business, or with your brand for designing a Facebook ad campaign that actually converts, or you actually just want to be taught how to do it yourself from a master, that is available. I love teaching groups and one-on-ones this process. And you can, again, hit me up on Instagram or Facebook in a direct message, and we will make sure you get the information to see if we should work together. Okay? So as always, you guys, I am wishing you great health, wealth, and worth. Have a beautiful day. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.